We are live. Welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, Episode 7, Toldja. The episode is rated TV-14, so will this video be. There, like all other videos I've done on the show, there will be spoilers for the episode and anything MCU and adjacent leading up to it. Love this episode, love all episodes of the show, most things MCU and adjacent. Let's dive right in. So, yeah, let's see, what is a good place to start? Probably, I kind of love the way that Sarge tries to manipulate, well, does ultimately, effectively manipulate the situation. I think I'll just briefly talk about, so, yeah, several times, they check on Jacko, and, he's, like, coughing. We were told he's not used to this atmosphere, and it's such a great, like, we thought that meant that he would die if he didn't keep getting, did they say it was oxygen? Whatever he used to breathe, But no, turns out Jaco was a Draco. Just, yeah, the poor Khan in there with him, and, Jaco's like, is it hot in here? And Khan's like, shut your mouth. That was really, really cool. That, smoke coming out, just, yeah. And the thing with, Snowflake did say it burns inside, but it's worth it. And we thought that meant, he'll become a butterfly. That's what she's always saying. She's not unhappy when people die. She thinks it's a good thing. But no, in this particular instance, great subversion expectation. Yeah. You know what? You have the words, you make them a sentence. I don't know, I feel like I've done the flip it and reverse it reference enough recently. Yeah, and congratulate, you're welcome for being reminded that Very Mary Kate was a thing. Go watch one of them after, or pause, honestly, go watch it right now. I'm probably going to watch one after I record this. Anyway, yeah, she wasn't, she was saying it burns, but it's worth it because you'll be able to free Sarge, And yeah, like by the end of the episode, looks like maybe Sarge's in charge rather than discharged. Around. But the, various conversations with him, and like, I still do think there's a decent chance that he wasn't lying to me. He is one of the good guys. They are trying to stop it. Doesn't change the fact that he's kind of a jerk. Like, holy crap, she's like in love with this Coulson guy. Anybody else? Can I, just like, wow. And Daisy walks off understandably, and he's like, there's one. Holy crap. Just, yeah. But the, when he is, the thing about, we got both of them. You got two strikes. You are smarter than me. He's like suppressing the reaction. He is bluffing. And, the moment that he said that, we knew, okay, there's definitely something there. There's some reason why he, but just, that great smirk that, I suppose I shouldn't be calling him Coulson just in case. Clark Gregg has, I think that does bring us nicely to, not very long after he's being, we got to bring him onto the, on deck. The director wants to see you. He wants to run lines. And, he, like, Mac straight up grabs him, slams him into the thing, tell me how to save these lives, just, yeah. And he did manage to take control, and he had the information they needed. And, I do also appreciate, it's frustrating when we see media claim that torture gets reliable intelligence. You know, like, you don't have to take my word for it. I forget the name, but someone who literally worked within it, you know, has said, no, it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, they don't get the information from Sarge by threatening him or keeping him in a cage or anything. They get it by, like, bargaining. And yeah, you know, Cold, very, very clever, because they're high enough up, the altitude will do it. And, you know, at one point, one of them, you know, the situation is very tense, and one of them is like, Yo-Yo is out there, and I'm thinking, is this, like, there is some chance that eventually her plot armor might run out, because it's happened to other major characters on this show. Now, let's see. I think that does cover everything for Sarge. Yeah, if he really is going to be in charge of hunting Shrikes from the next episode, they really didn't give Mac that many episodes, 7 episodes of him being the director. Yeah, I guess someone working on this felt that Clark Gregg being a main cast member was crucial to its success, and I do think there's a lot of truth to that for the other seasons. I don't know yet if it works with Sarge, but it does seem like a multiverse thing. You know, Deke points out, I didn't blip out of existence, despite certain people wanting me to, some on this very show. That proves the multiverse, you know, and I really loved his confrontation with Mac, because it's one of those, you can understand where both of them are coming from. You know, both of them make a really good case for their point of view and their actions, the choices they made. Yeah, it was pretty funny when Deke is trying desperately to impress Daisy. You know, he's still not over his crush, and she's like, kind of busy here, you know, we have a lot to do. I did think, you know, the thing with the Jordans, I was wondering if she was going to be like, you know, that's like, you put your feet on top of, like, buttons, like, do you want this place to melt down? But, yeah, you know, it's one of those, like, a guy who doesn't know how to talk to women, like, Daisy doesn't care that you're wealthy. That's not her value system at all, you know? Like, holy crap, read the room, buddy. She used to be, like, pretty much like a communist, you know? Season 1, yeah, she's not this, but yeah. And the thing with, you know, oh, Jordan's nice. Yeah, I totally know who Jordan is. He was revolutionary for inventing shoes, which, like, I do kind of appreciate. There's still, you know, strong character writing. He would think that. He would think, well, I mean, if you invent shoes, your name's going to be on shoes for forever. You know, like, the concept of celebrity is still so new and foreign to him, so it doesn't even occur to him that, you know, if someone is thought of as impressive, they can sell a lot of, you know, merchandise off just their name, which, like, fair enough, that is quite ridiculous. That is really, really high up there with things that make clear how capitalism is not the answer. Anyway, yeah, I'm not saying it's the very top. Obviously, labor exploitation, wage theft, you know, the fact that it, you know, consumption is literally destroying the planet. They're making it unlivable for us, for those who split heirs. Anyway, what was the other thing? I guess that pretty much covers Deke. I'm not sure I have more about Daisy either. I think that might... Right, really cool when Elena grabbed the one guy and they do it with, like, you know, a hidden cut and a whip pan, I want to say. You know, just very, very nicely done there. And really cool that they actually, the Shrikes stroked right out of the containment chamber. Like, holy crap. Yeah, this is serious. Yeah, and Deke showing off when he, like, well, you know, I hacked. Dude, nobody says hacked anymore. You know, the tracker, you know, and it wasn't easy. You're flattering me, and it totally worked. I think. Oh, right. The line about deodorant was, you know, I'm rich now. Oh, what'd you do? Invent a new deodorant? Because he wasn't always the most pleasant smelling person. Is all she's saying, you know. Yeah, I think that covers everything. Everything Terran. So, you know, that should keep you Earthlings, I mean us Earthlings, happy. And let's move. Let's go to space. Yeah, some really great stuff. The thing with, you know, poor Enoch. He's trying, you know. They are trying. They really are. You know, I am unfamiliar with this mode of travel. It appears that I hit redial. And it's just, you know, it's okay. We'll just pick up the... Oh, somebody else got the... You want to be careful with that probably drunk individual who has no idea that what they're holding is, like, yeah, potentially really dangerous, you know. So just, and yeah, a couple of shortcuts to save on effects. I think in this episode, at least we did still get some really cool stuff, like with the Zephyr and such. But yeah, you know, the person disappears off, you know, from off screen. We just get like reaction shots to it, and there was at least one other thing in this episode, right? And another really cool thing. I think they may have been saving it for the Shrike stuff, and that was a good choice, because that was really, it's extremely important that, you know, we're not just like looking at the face of Elena and we have to, like, imagine, oh, I guess it's getting closer. No, we actually see it, you know, and when she uses her powers to break off that one bit, and then the cold, you know, hits. I don't know, I felt like, didn't the cold move much faster in The Day After Tomorrow? Extremely important that we acknowledge climate change and fight it. That was still a very silly movie. I don't think that was the best way to communicate it, because there's so many silly things in it that are deeply inaccurate to reality. Anyway, I think that might more or less get us to the, yeah, so you know, they're stuck in the casino until the, you know, it's like, we just gotta wait for the door. Says someone's played a stealth game. You're waiting for the yeah, for the enemy guard character to move away so you can sneak past. Very clever. Yes, so the then we have the the thing with, you know, it is imperative for the success of this mission that we seem excited about the game, and you know, Gemma and the subtitles make sure to note, you know, dryly goes, woo hoo. Come on, Gemma, just like pretend that it's science, you know. Just that was really funny. And Gemma and Fitz being just slightly off, you know, they're talking over each other and saying different things when they think the other might be saying the same, and yeah. But yeah, they think they're gonna be able to get out of there, and then, you know, the big green guy comes back. And yeah, just the I thought I recognized Mr. Kitson. Anthony Michael Hall. Yeah, I'm glad that he is still around. You know, some of the 80s stars really didn't get much of a chance, but yeah, I liked him here. I liked him in, I suppose I'll keep it vague and say recent Halloween, the H40 trilogy, Halloween, you know, 40 years down the line. Anyway, yeah, you know, comes back and they end up in chains. And the thing with, you know, he's so, you know, such an ego, having a picture of himself, and that was his grandfather, you know, which, like, yeah, Mr. Kitson, that's, you know, the nature of this, you know, the naming convention of keeping the last name of your, yeah, you know, but you know, he was a great man. He was an asshole, but he had to be because he had ambition, and, like, immediate, it's like, oh, do not like you, you are also an asshole, dude. And yeah, like, this, wow, like, I cannot be the only person who got, like, tech billionaire vibes off, like, one of those, like, I mean, he's more charismatic than Musk and the Zuck. I don't know why I can never remember the Amazon, Bezos, you know, but I don't know. I do. Wasn't Jobs somewhat charismatic? Hence all those, you know, the presentations where he'd talk about the technology that does require some. Anyway, but yeah, very happy to see him, you know, not get what he wanted with, although I suppose ultimately, you know, one of them did lose, so yeah. I think they did a good job with Isel, I think was how she pronounced it, with, you know, first she's like talking, or being talked at by the guy who ends up getting his head cut off, and it was also clever, you know, the house always wins, I guess, because, yeah, you know, he bluffed. That wasn't necessarily like cheating. He bluffed Enoch. I can imagine he hustled. I can imagine he eventually just straight up cheated. So yeah. But yeah, the thing with, you know, I cannot believe we're gonna go out this way. Nobody's gonna believe it. I believe it. Yeah, like, I mean, Mr. Kitson is rich, so it's not an eat the rich sitch. But yeah, French Revolution, not an operations manual, dude. You should have read the entire book, because it didn't go well for the, you know, yeah, the ones who started out decapitating. Now, I think that, right, yeah, so Isel showing up, you know, getting out the knife, and she said something along the lines of, you know, it'll go in straight and come out crooked, which is such a great way, because, like, we've seen, there's a bunch of media where someone, because, like, what she's describing is, you know, stick it in and then twist it. You know, we've seen that a bunch of times, describing it, and probably also an age rating thing, but yeah, that worked really well, I thought. And the thing with, you know, I can't just let you leave with them. Oh, I'll pay. Why would you give me money for something that I don't really need to keep? I should make another casino. Like, holy crap, is this, like, you know, Planet Kitson's version of Trump? Trump wouldn't name a planet after himself. Anyway, yeah, she does manage to talk him into it, and the thing with, you know, I'm not asking you to call off the game, just pick a loser. We know, everybody knows the games on Kitson are rigged, you know. I know you've got the button, just press it, you know, and the, yeah, there's an electric charge that's gonna, like, he's not gonna be able to hold on, obviously, you know, it doesn't even have to be, like, extremely high in charge, and it's, you know, if you're not looking, you can probably not tell, you might not even be able to tell if you are looking. And I love that, you know, his dying words, I forget the exact words, but just, yeah, his dying words were funny in a morbid sort of way. Yeah. I think that does bring us to, yeah, and the thing with, you know, you know, she saved the synth and the thing with, you know, right, and also, you know, you can have use of us. You don't have to kill us. Killing you is useful for me. Oops. Department of Education. That was the third thing. Anyway, yeah, yeah, you know, she's like, well, my new crew wanted me to keep the synth around. New crew, you mean us? See, that's why y'all got the PhDs. But yeah, the thing with, you know, I have the drive, which is need a ship. We know where there's a ship. And the guy's like, please don't break any more of my fingers. Which, again, like, normally I wouldn't approve of, but he's such an asshole. You know, so yeah, and the other guy's just, you know, that was also very funny with, you know, the one thing I know about Kitsan is it's trouble. Waves of euphoria. What? Is there something you haven't told me, you know, just, yeah. Let's see, but yeah, she's just a recreational user. Anyway, yes, yeah, you know, Isel manages to convince them to fly, and yeah, you know, I have to wonder if there is some connection between her and Shrike. Sarge and the others haven't talked about waiting for another person, I'm pretty sure, so it's possible she's on their side, but they're not expecting her. Could she be on the side of Shrike? I mean, they look normal until the Shrike reacts to something, so yeah, I don't quite know, but I do appreciate, yeah, we are getting them back to Earth, so everyone will be dealing with the Shrike. This isn't really the kind of show that would just say, no, we're gonna separate them for no good reason. Yeah, and Enoch's not goodbye, because goodbyes suck, was also quite good. He, you know, they give them the what's it called, the Captain Marvel phone. That's it. You know, like, I mean, that movie had come out, was coming out. Let's see, 2019. Yeah, I think, you know, it was the same. No, wait, no, yeah, because that was 2018, wasn't it? And then 2019 was Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home, I think it was. But yeah, you know, it was an interesting choice to have. But yeah, you know, and he's like, they are like, please do not use it for frivolous reasons. I am giving you back your communicator, even though I knew that you could not be trusted with it. I'm not saying that's like a plot hole. Anyway, please do not use it too soon. I will not miss you, Leopold Fitz. And you know, Fitz actually, like, you know, double take. If he was drinking, he'd do a spit take. You know, it is like, yeah, wait, what? Was that sarcasm? You know, and Enoch is like, I lack familiarity and practice, as we Vulcans have no use for what you Earthlings call sarcasm, but I was bluffing. Yeah. And, right, also early in the episode, like, genuinely, one can understand why Jaco follows Sarge. You know, he lost his entire family. I like the thing with, you know, oh, so you're trying, no, I was smaller than my little brother. That was also great, because we think we know where it's going, and then it's the other way around. But yeah, you know, he says, they're all gone now. Fertilizer. Fertilizer? That is horseshit.